are live.
Hello, people. Actually, I don't think there's very many people in here at all. But
Shout out to our one viewer.
yeah, which is probably my phone because my phone's set up right now. But whatever. This is going on YouTube, so and maybe we'll actually upload this one to thing. Should we turn on the actual Audacity recording and record this one?
We can.
Let's go ahead. Let's do it.
We can. We can sure do that.
Since it's a kind of a weird Sunday recording anyway. I'm ready whenever you are.
We'll have to do our little...
We'll do our little spiel. So, hello guys, and welcome to Bayou Chronicles. I'm Crystal.
I'm Bethany.
And this is kind of a Twitch recording and multi-episode. Mostly a Twitch episode, so if you hear us talking to people and you're not getting it while you're listening.
I promise we're not crazy. We're actually talking to people in chat.
Yeah, so that's what we're doing. But we're going to record this so that it can go out as well, too. I hope y'all enjoyed last Sunday's episode. I know I did. I laughed my
I haven't even asked Crystal about it.
off. I laughed so hard.
You know, Zach's younger brother texted me, and he was like, he's like, I throw your podcast on, like, while I'm at the gym, and I just got to you and Zach's episode, and I was like, oh my god.
It was funny. It was great.
Oh, yeah, my mom's a viewer. Hi, Mom.
Hi, Mom. It was pretty funny. I laughed pretty darn hard.
I was pretty proud of Zach.
I loved him in it. I loved him in it. He was so funny. I loved him talking about how he has to support his woman.
It was good.
And whatever you want to endeavor and do, it's his job to support you in that. I loved that.
Any spouse should.
Yes, I loved that. So it was a funny episode, dude. I would physically laughed out loud several times while listening to it. So that's how I knew it was good.
Some good feedback. I actually had people message me and text me and they liked it. So.
Yeah, my mouth hurt by the end of it because I was smiling so big the entire time I was listening to it because I thought it was hilarious. I really did. It was a good episode. So I'm trying to think of anything else. I am back from vacation. I'm exhausted. Jet lag has been killer, but I was also weird because the past 2 days I've woken up at 5 in the morning and not gone back to sleep, but wanted to take naps.
I hate those. And I'm not
it's
a napper.
Miserable.
If I take a
Look,
nap,
I'm yawning thinking about it.
If I nap, I'm out.
Uh-huh.
I'm not getting up for the rest of the day, so that's why I don't take naps anymore. I'm not a nap person.
I'm so exhausted. We had a blast. Tyler and I went to Paris and did a couple of days in London and did a day out in Dover and saw the White Cliffs of Dover. Just had a phenomenal time. We met a cool couple in London while we were eating at the super fancy restaurant, which I've spent more money on in one meal than my entire life, and I know I should not regret that.
No, it's
but I saved money for it, and we got to spend it, and I got to try Gordon Ramsay's recipe for beef Wellington, so that's a goal. But we met a really cool couple who invited us to come stay at their bed and breakfast in North England free of charge. Kansas said that they were probably trying to sleep with Tyler and I.
Swingers.
But they are definitely not.
Because Crystal literally...
They're not.
She literally texted me, it was 2 o'clock our morning. I don't know what that time for you. That's probably 1.
It was 5. We were 5 hours ahead.
So 1 p.m.-ish, 12, noonish, something like that. And I was asleep. And when I woke up that morning, I was like, Crystal just got hit on by some swingers.
We totally didn't. Ask Tyler. We never got that. We never got that vibe. Let me explain to y'all how it went in the TLDR. This man is exactly like Tyler, because if y'all know Tyler, he says stuff to embarrass me a lot. And we were sat next to this couple, and they got married the previous, like 4 or 5 days ago. They had just gotten married. And it was a second marriage for both of them.
Okay.
And she doesn't have any kids, but he has grown kids.
Okay.
And
so that's beautiful.
Yes, they had known each other since they were kids. They were knew each other when they were teenagers, and they got disconnected, and then after their marriages fell, they got reconnected, and it was really cute.
Chance at love.
It was very cute. I loved it. But he had said something to the waiter. And these people were incredibly nice, like the type of people that ask everybody's names, use their names several times so that they know it. Just great people. And when he said whatever he said, she was like, "Oh my God, you're so embarrassing." And I said, "Girl, I understand. My husband's the same way." And then Tyler was like, "Yeah, as soon as you said it, I knew it was something that I would have said." And then we just started talking and found out that we were all celebrating. They shared their bottle of champagne with us, bought us a round of whiskey because we were closing the whole place down with them, basically. We're the only people in there. Him and Tyler connected because they were both Manchester United fans. Me and her were just, chit-chatting, talking. They were telling us all these places we should visit, everywhere that we needed to go next, places we needed to see. And they said they had a bed and breakfast because they own their own businesses. They had a bed and breakfast, and they were like, "Next time you come, you have to, stay in our bed and breakfast and get a taste for what the real English countryside is like, because where they live is so close to Scotland." And they're like, "It's just beautiful country. You can go up and see Hadrian's Wall. It is just gorgeous, and you have, you have to." And I was like, "Oh my gosh, what's the name of it?" And they said, "This is the name of it." And he was like, "When you come, don't worry about paying for anything. You can just stay. We'll get you set up. Y'all deserve to be treated." We never got the vibe that they were hitting on us.
It does feel, a little swingerish, but maybe they're just really nice people.
I don't. Okay, how could it have been swingerish though? How?
Couldn't stay at our place.
It wasn't their place. They have a whole bed and breakfast, which I looked up, and I looked at the bed and breakfast, and it's gorgeous. It's full on what you think of. You remember that movie with, oh my God, I think it was Jack Black and the other girl, The Holiday or whatever, where they switch houses.
Oh, yeah.
And she stays in this beautiful house. That it literally looks like that. It looks like a pit, out of a movie.
Swanky.
But I never got the job.
Now that Crystal tells me the story in person, it doesn't seem.
It doesn't feel. It does. I never got the vibe.
In a freshly waking up fog, it felt very swingerish.
If they said, "Hey, come to our house," okay, yes, that's 100% swingerish. But no, it's a bed and breakfast. It's hers originally, and they run the whole thing. Nice. They have a couple of pubs in the town too, so because where the Airbnb, not Airbnb, geez, the B&B is in, oh my gosh, what's it called? Something Lakes National Forest. And and that's where the bed and breakfast is, and it overlooks all these mountains and all this kind of gorgeous, beautiful stuff. So I didn't get the swinger vibe. Tyler and I would have talked about it if we got the swinger vibe, because we were already talking about the strip club / erotic happy ending massage place that was across the street from our Airbnb.
Very much. Everybody in the Discord was wanting to know about this.
Okay, so it was a lot. We looked up all the packages. Tyler and I kept joking about going.
It's pretty.
We probably should have.
It looked pretty expensive.
It was, because I think we even said it. The most expensive package was €600, and it was, quote, a hardcore. I'm quoting, guys, if you can't see my little air quotes, hardcore lesbian massage or lesbian show with the use of toys. And they would be a dominatrix or whatever.
I'm sorry if you're not used to hearing this on the podcast.
Sorry.
It's a different type of episode. Crystal had a wild time.
I had a wild time. Wild time. And every night they would put a sign out that said erotic massage €90. And it was always very interesting to me because we never saw anyone go in or come out, but we saw one person come out, and it was the middle of the day, and he was carrying a thing of diapers. Like, that was strange. But you could also go on their website, and they had a menu of girls. Yeah, it was very, very interesting. So after that, we definitely did not get swinger vibes from these people. They gave us a Cuban cigar as we left, so Tyler and I got to enjoy our first Cuban cigars, which was cool. Never had one. Felt like we should have taken that opportunity. So,
That's
yeah.
interesting. I like it, though.
Yeah.
I
mean, we
it.
did other cool stuff, too. Like, we saw all the big sights. I cried like a baby when we went to the Tower of London because that was, like, a dream bucket list thing for me. But me and my mom always talked about, like, going to the Tower of London because we're huge fans of that. And Tyler and I actually split up and toured it independently because he wanted to do, like, a guided tour of it, and I didn't.
I love that for y'all. You know,
yeah.
Let's normalize couples going on vacation together, but being able to do things
Yeah,
separately.
we did that a couple of times, too, actually, while we were there. We split up and just did it however we wanted to. But when we hooked back up together, he saw me, and I had, like, tears in my eyes, and I was literally about to just bawl because all I was thinking about the entire time was how much my mom would have loved this, and I was like, Mom's here with me. Like, like, it was, like, one of, like, the few times in my life that I have, like, felt that my mom was with me because I was like, there's no way she, like, her little ghost wouldn't have, like, followed me and been like, oh my God, we're gonna go see all this stuff together. So
she had time for that.
She made time. She made time. She said the boys will be okay by themselves.
Peace out.
Bye. We're going on vacation. So I literally was crying as I saw the crown jewels. I asked more questions than probably any other person's ever asked. The people were more than happy to answer said questions, which was amazing. I was afraid they would not, but they answered every question that I had about the coronation equipment, basically is what I'm calling it. It was very cool. 10 out of 10, best experience of my life.
If you follow us on Instagram, which is Bayou_Chronicles, both of our personal Instagrams are, like, kind of linked on the bio section. And you can click on Crystal's, and she posted all the pictures from their trip, and it's beautiful.
Yes, I'm going to make a highlights feed for everybody.
It was so good. So if you want to go check out that, you can go click on her Instagram over there. It's really good.
Yeah. Now I talked for an hour and a half about my trip. I'm so sorry. If you want a whole thing about that, you can. I'll tell you all about it. We had a lot of fun. A lot of inside jokes were made.
I mean, we are planning an episode because she went on this. She didn't even talk about
I had talked about it.
Her Paris tour that she went on.
We went on 2 tours, actually. We went on one in Paris and one in London because the Paris one was so freaking awesome that we went on a second one. And the Paris one was, what did I tell you? It was like the gory side of Paris.
Yes.
And it was like all these horror stories.
Literally, for some reason, while Crystal was gone, yes, I lived through Crystal too. I was like, I love that she's on this trip with Tyler, but I was like, man, I wish I could have gone with her. And I'm like, was already like, me and Crystal need to take a girls' trip somewhere.
To the Stanley Hotel with your mom.
I think I would be okay with that. I don't know. Maybe we'll have to plan it. But, oh my God, what was I going to say? Oh, anyway, for some reason, like, everybody was, like, messaging me and texting me while Crystal was gone with, like, questions and stuff. And I was like, oh my God, I don't know any of this. Crystal does all this. But, like, literally, people had saw Crystal post about that, and they were messaging me, and they're like, oh, I want to see stuff about this. So then I messaged Crystal, I was like, well, we got to do an episode about this now, because everybody's loving it.
Look, so I'm going to write down all the cool stuff that we did. Like, we went to the site of where these boys that were afflicted with tuberculosis were, and they died in a drowning in the early 1900s, and like we could like see down into the basement where they died. I was the only person brave enough to look down and see if I saw anything. I didn't, unfortunately. Trust me, they all thought that I was crazy because I wanted to see something scary. We went to the site of where like the legend and like the stuff of Sweeney Todd came from, but in Paris, where this lady was like killing these young traveling students that were studying at the Notre Dame. It was literally right behind the Notre Dame, and they were murdering them and cutting their bodies up on this big Roman stone that was in the basement, and making and selling meat pies. And they actually killed the barber and her by not only just killing them, like normally they would burn them alive, they actually put them in cages and suspended them over a fire so that they were cooked alive.
Okay,
Great story. We saw the spot where Henry IV was killed. There's a plaque in the middle of a street. It's really random. So random. I'm going to write them all down. Then we went to London. Equally crazy one. There were some crazy stories at the Tower of London. There was, of course, Jack the Ripper one. So we went to 2 of the spots where victims of Jack the Rippers were found. We went to 2 of their spots, which was really cool to actually be standing where some of his victims were found, but also very kind of creepy. So
a little morbid.
But yeah, I'll write them all down, and we'll go through them and make little mini episode or a full length episode of all the creepy stories. How about that?
Sounds good.
That sounds like a plan. But anyway, I'll stop talking about my trip, cause we're like 20 minutes in.
Well, people loved it, and people on YouTube just have to get over it.
Yeah.
Although YouTube has been popping for us lately, we're about to hit 80 subscribers, and
every time we get a negative comment, we get more, like 100 something more views.
Yeah, we got a cool little email the other day that said we've hit over 6,000 views,
which
on our YouTube,
shocked me.
Which 5,000 of it is literally from one video, so that means like roughly 1,000 is from our other videos. But still, thank you guys that do subscribe to our YouTube channel and come and watch us. And the ones that just love to comment really mean things that don't know us and are only watching, a clip we made in December. Next month will be a year since that video, I think.
Did you see the one we got the other day from Jeffrey Norglian?
First off, that's a weird name, not to judge, but...
Oh, he was really rough about it, and I got made fun of because apparently I said like 500 or 330 times. I guess he was very specific. The video that got the most views is the Cave System National Park one.
It was like it was our second stream on Twitch that we uploaded to YouTube, and we talked about how there's a correlation between national parks and missing people. And there is. There's not. It's not like a conspiracy. But we labeled it as a conspiracy because, who are we? We're not, we can't say that stuff actually happened, even though there is proof. And people love to come on there and just comment about it, about how poor the quality was. But we didn't have a lot of the stuff that we do now because we were only 2 months into the podcast. We didn't have our new mics that we have now. We didn't have this new webcam. We didn't have the studio that we now record in.
Can I read Jeffrey's comment?
Go for it.
Okay.
And then I'll start with the episode finally.
Okay, yes. I'm going to read Jeffrey's comment, and I'm going to read my response so that everyone can also tell us if we did a good job in this response or if this was a really crappy response.
We're always nice.
I'm very nice.
We're always nice. We're never mean to them.
So Jeffrey says, I thought this looked interesting, but there were so many small annoying things like the video not really starting for 7 minutes. Then God knows how long of them talking about sound, etc. Finally, I jumped ahead to 30 minutes, listened for 5, and heard the word like about 330 times. First impressions count whether we like it or not. There is no need to record your sound checks, get into the story. There is also a horrible sound problem, which is why we did the sound checks.
That's why we did the sound check.
But I didn't address that.
We didn't know what we were doing.
Appreciate that you tried, but there's a lot of room for improvement. I could not listen to the whole video.
That's fine.
Cool, whatever.
That's fine.
So listen to what I said, and y'all tell me if I'm rude. Hey there, Jeffrey. We just subscribed to you. We were his first subscriber, by the way. Thank you so much for your comments and suggestions about how to run our streams. As we mentioned in the description, this is a direct upload from Twitch, and we provided a starting point. If you aren't familiar with that platform, it's customary to start your stream with a waiting screen that allows people to join. This video was among the first that we started on our small podcast, and we aren't really good at production. Honestly, production isn't a major concern for us. We do this for fun and not to impress anyone. We are very appreciative that you chose to listen to whatever small part you did and that you chose to interact. Because of that interaction, we received a bump in our views and are getting closer and closer to monetization, which is pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
We know that your time is valuable, so thank you for taking the time to comment your feelings and concerns. We are, hold on, it like disappeared.
Literally the last time we had somebody, and Crystal is very passive aggressive. She texted me and she said anytime somebody leaves us a negative comment, we're going to subscribe to their YouTube channel, whether they have one or not. So that's what she's been doing.
I said, we know your time is valuable, so thank you for taking your time to comment your feelings and opinions. We are open to receiving your help if you'd like to contribute your time fixing some of the problems you said we had. Please email us if you're interested. Thanks again for your comment. I feel like it is one, yes, very passive aggressive for me to say that, but two, it is very nice, polite, and I'm not attacking anyone. They chose to attack. I'm choosing not to. Choosing to be very nice.
If you're familiar with YouTube, and I've watched some people that are like millionaires now, like when they first started, I've watched some makeup artists that I really like, and I can tell you right now, their first YouTube videos, terrible quality, terrible sounding, terrible everything, but I still watched it, and now they're making millions of dollars. So you start everywhere.
I mean, could we put more money into some of our stuff
probably
and time?
Could have,
yeah,
but we're literally two best friends that
just want to talk
in our free time, upload these videos, record our episodes. Just our mics alone weren't cheap.
No, they were not.
It was out of our own pockets. It didn't come out of podcast money. Literally, all of our podcast money that we've made, we have in a bank account that we're saving.
Yeah.
To do stuff with. So, just a little kindness. Kindness goes a long way. Is there times where I've watched a YouTube video and I'm like, man, this sucks. It's really bad. Yeah, but I told Crystal this the other day, I've never left a bad...
Oh, me either.
I've never left a bad YouTube comment.
Even if somebody's stuff sucks, my two defaults are either go out of my way to be nice and like...
Yes,
just say something that I am
joined only, and if you saw Ghost Adventures when they started, it was terrible. But guess what? Me and my mom were there watching every Thursday night when it came on. I think it came on the History Channel at first.
Yeah.
And it was terrible. And now look at them. He has like a museum in Las Vegas where people come and spend buku monies.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, maybe one day we'll update our stuff and be all kind of fancy,
it's a
but...
process, because we do like it to look nice for you guys. That's why we use Canva to make these cool little pretty slides and stuff for you guys, so it adds a little bit of flash and flair for those of you that are watching Twitch, for those of you that are listening on, Spotify and Apple Podcasts. You should really come hang out with us on Twitch so you can know what we're talking about right now.
And see our hands move when we talk. That's all we do.
But okay, we've talked enough. People on YouTube are really going to love that we talked for 30 minutes before we actually talked about the topic. But as you can see up on the screen, we're talking about Roanoke, the Lost Colony. It's still one of history's greatest unsolved mysteries. Even though there's a lot of people out there, when you do your research, that they are like, this has already been solved. Yeah, his museum. Yeah, it's interesting. I still kind of want to go to it, just to go.
I feel like it's a thing you gotta go to.
But, yeah.
Because you gotta go.
A lot of it's just a bunch of mumbo jumbo.
Bucket list.
Yes, bucket list, definitely. I'm sure at one point everybody has heard about Roanoke, and we're not talking about American Horror Story.
Oh, heck no.
We got into this conversation not too long ago with one of our friends in Discord about how...
Worst season.
Yes, Roanoke.
Ever.
Yeah, even my mom just said it in the comment section.
If you like that season of American Horror Story, you're not our friend.
I powered through it because, one, I was on bed rest with my youngest when it came out, and I just needed something to watch, and I just love American Horror Story, but that was the most boring and just I watched it.
I'm about to be controversial. I told all of y'all that I liked the new season of American Horror Story.
Yes.
It ended so stupid.
I have to finish
it. It ended so bad.
It got better.
Wait, are you still on the little vampire people first, or have you got to the second part?
No, I got to the second part.
The little aliens?
I'm not finished, though. Yes.
It ended horribly.
Oh, dang it.
It's pretty high up there with worst seasons ever. I'm just letting y'all know.
No.
I had so much faith.
No.
But it wasn't great.
Okay, but we are talking about Roanoke, the Lost Colony, and before I kind of dig into the conspiracy theories, and when I tell you the conspiracy theories are wild, and a little bit before we started, I told Crystal one of them, and we kind of laughed and giggled and hee-heed about it, and she was actually thinking about it being plausible.
I really think most of our conspiracy theory stories are us debunking these conspiracy theories. That's what they should be called. Debunking the conspiracy theory.
But before we get to the conspiracy theory, we're going to kind of go through like a little summarization of what Roanoke actually was, because I promise you there's probably one person out there that doesn't know what I'm talking about. Shockingly enough, there's at least one person out there that doesn't know something about something. So...
Well, now they're going to learn.
Yes, they are. And it was funny that I'm doing this, and I brought, this idea up to Crystal because she's the history major, and I just don't vibe with history. Like, I barely made it. I made it through it in high school. But, yeah, we're here. I don't want to mess it up because literally last stream I said fast forward backwards, trying to say rewind.
I remember that.
Crystal laughed so hard at me. I didn't even know what I said at first. I was going through it last stream, y'all. I couldn't talk. I said all kinds of stuff. That's the only thing I remember that I said. I said a few other things.
I don't remember the other ones, but I remember the forward fast.
I literally said, let's fast forward backwards. And I was confident with what I was saying. And I meant rewind, y'all. She's my second daughter. What? Oh, Crystal.
I am.
Yeah. I thought she was talking about me. I was like, wait a minute. Mama.
Who's the first?
Mama. Anyway, okay, so this is before Jamestown and Plymouth. I'm pretty sure if you know very bare minimum about history.
That's like kindergarten.
Yeah, Jamestown
First grade.
Jamestown is going to be the first thing that comes to your mind because that's kind of what we're taught. We weren't really taught about Roanoke and all the other stuff. Even though a lot of what you were taught in school wasn't right, but that is a conversation for like a whole other stream that we would need like 10 hours for.
Can I sidetrack and give everyone a book recommendation before I forget it? So there's a book called This Land Was Their Land.
Ooh.
And I don't remember the author.
I have to put that on my read
list. It is a book that basically debunks all of the stuff behind Thanksgiving and like Roanoke and all that kind of fun shebang. So if you haven't read it, highly recommend it. I had to read it in school, and I think it was in grad school, but I had to read it. One of my favorite books. 10 out of 10 would recommend.
Yeah, and it was fun doing research for this. Because the comment section on YouTube on any type of video about any type of Native American culture or event really brought out the true colors in people.
Oh, I'm sure.
But yeah, it was wow. Some of y'all are wild. But there was nothing here so people want you to think there is a lot of stuff here.
Oh, yeah.
There's a lot of Native Americans. There's a lot of tribes. They had their own...
They had like 12,000 years of history before.
Their own settlement. Air quoting here for those of you that can't see me. But, they think, Englishmen coming over on boats was the first. But so between 1584 and 1587, a total of 3 expeditions traveled to Roanoke Island, and it's kind of spread out across those, and it's kind of weird. It's a lot of coming here and going back to England, obviously, for those of you. That's where these people are coming from. I would really hope...
Colonizers.
I would really hope you know that part. But for those of you that aren't familiar, Roanoke Island is located off of what we call today North Carolina, or the Carolinas, because it's kind of between both, if you get what I'm putting down, north and south, but it's just a little bit closer to North Carolina. So It's now called Dare County, and that just doesn't. I don't like that as much as Roanoke.
Correct me if I'm wrong. Isn't Dare County not where all of the the first 2 seasons of Counterclock take place?
No clue.
Okay. Sorry. I just thought about Dare County sounded really familiar, and that sounds like where Counterclock started.
But
I'll look it up. Y'all keep going.
But yes, it's now called Dare County. Roanoke just has like a ring to it. But these expeditions were basically traveling here to the New World to see if they could build a settlement. I don't know what I just said, y'all. Settlement. A place to live. You get what I'm putting down. Oh my lord. But they were basically coming here and to see, they were wanting to get away from England, and they were really wanting to make a new life and all that good jazz, and see if they could farm the land or like make a sustainable life. Because it wasn't a quick trip. Like, this was by boat, and it took 2 to 3 months, sometimes longer depending on weather.
Jeez.
If you ran into another ship on your way here.
My 9-hour flight was miserable.
Oh yeah. And just think about that. When you have all these people on a boat confined for like 2 to 3 months, weather, if you run into other ships, and if you eat all the food.
Can't take a shower?
No. I mean, hygiene back then already wasn't the greatest.
Oh God, I'm dying.
Yeah, think
just
about that.
Wash your underarms
you
at
eat
least.
all your food on the way there, and then when you get there and you like have to start from scratch, like they were kind of like
these people. I wouldn't have survived. I'm just letting y'all know. It wasn't really
thought through, but like they were desperate to like basically be the first. That's all it came down to is. Yeah, they wanted to get away from England, some of them, but it was like, we got to be the first to, like, there's this land out there.
Quakers.
Yeah, but like I was talking about, the trip took so long, 2 to 3 months, that the supplies didn't last. So basically, it was the trip there. They were there for, like, I think the first trip, like, a year, and they were like, okay, we're going to need some stuff. And they were forced to turn back to England. Not all of them stayed, and basically they would like kind of alternate. That's why they all got scurvy. A good bit of them, like I know that's a big joke, like scurvy, but a lot of people were suffering from a lot of diseases back then because a lot of these ships had rats. That is one thing from history class I learned, and rats are disgusting and carry so many diseases. But yeah, imagine getting so down bad that you gotta fry up that little rat that's been running around downstairs because you have no food left. But
that's gross.
Anyways, and they also, like, when they would go on these return trips to get more supplies, like through these years, from 84 to 87, and then there's one more trip in 87. They kind of wanted to report back to the Queen, because, she kind of ran the joint. And you couldn't really pick up a phone. You can't write a letter, so you can't be like, hey, can you send another ship here to bring more supplies? No, you had to take that ship you came on, go back, get the supplies, talk to the Queen, be like, yeah, this is what we got going on, and then travel all the way back to the New World. So that's what they had going on. In 1585, so a year after the first expedition, Sir Walter Raleigh was asked by the Queen herself to put together another expedition. So, like, basically the second expedition, but this time it was a charter boat, like a special boat, and mainly this boat was going to be military men. Not sure why we need all that, but yeah, and some more food and supplies, and not as many women and children. Because while all this was going on during the first expedition to the New World, the Native Americans, rightfully so, were not feeling the vibes. They were like, we don't like these men coming over here and doing this. So there was already a couple of battles. A couple of people from both sides had already died. So they were like, let's leave our loved ones here on this island and take a boat back for 3 months and go tell the queen that we need more military people and then travel another 3 months back to fight them. So for 6 months, these people were just on the island fending for themselves. But yeah, which is crazy because, you know, they're getting attacked by, you know, the local tribe while all this is, you know, happening. And they're reporting back to the queen, yeah, everything's fine. Everything's going good. We're building the settlement. We're farming. We're getting along great with the natives. They love us. And the island was actually home to, and I'm just going to apologize in advance because this is a hard word, and a lot of the names I'm about to pronounce, I say rewind backwards, so that should give you a little heads up that I already don't know how to pronounce names. But the island was actually home to Algonquian speaking Native Americans. Algonquin, okay.
I'm sorry, I just know that one. They're the Algonquins. I probably butchered it too, but I know that's closer.
Okay,
Algonquin.
I thought I had it on the money. Algonquin. Okay, speaking Native Americans. I'm so sorry. I promise I'm not disrespectful. We just have a bad habit of mispronouncing words here on the podcast. But honestly, it was really silly for them to this. I mean, when these people came to the New World, they were
heavy
like...
quote.
Yeah. They were like, we're going to be the only ones here. We're going to start this new life. We're going to do all this. Like, do you just not, like, what arrogance, I feel like that's a good word.
Yeah.
Makes you think England is the only place, or Europe is the only place that has people.
Well, I mean, at this point, they knew that, if you think about it, they knew that England existed, that area. They knew that mainland Europe existed. Mm-hmm. They knew that mainland Russia, China, Japan, they basically knew all that existed. They knew for the most part almost all of Africa existed. Mm-hmm. So they knew most of the major continents.
Some parts.
But they had not quite gotten... Basically, at this time, you have to remember, too, everyone was trying to find a quickest way to India without having to go all the way around Africa. Yep. Like, all the way down and around. They were trying to find a quicker way.
Yep. But...
Which is why they were called Indians. So,
like I said, when these expeditions were happening and they were traveling to Roanoke and they were coming on boats, and I'm not talking like 5-10 people, I'm talking like 120. Okay, so that's a good bit of people. And it's not a huge island, and you have to realize there was already an entire tribe living and thriving on this island. And then here you have these people that just came in on a boat, and right away they're wanting land and they're wanting to take it over, and they're wanting to build crops, and they have their women and their children, and they're bringing the military in a year later on the second expedition. And then here another year later we have a third expedition, so that's more and more people. So it just wasn't happening. And the chief was like, I'm not okay with this. I want you to leave. I want you to get back on your boat. I want you to take your women and your children, and I want you to go back to wherever you came from. I want you to go back to England. I see no problem with that. I'd be like, okay, all right, let's dab it up. I'm going to get back on my boat, and we're going to head out. But, however, in true colonist fashion, you know, colonizers here, that's Crystal's new word of the day.
I just think it's a funny word.
We like to kill people. And that's true. Nobody should get mad at me because that's 100% facts. That's just our history. Go pick up a history book. It's a lot of death. Okay?
A whole lot.
And I'm going to upset people, and I honestly don't really care on this episode because this is 100% factual and true. After a while, like I said, the tribe wasn't okay, and the chief asked them to leave. That's not how land is conquered. Yeah, that's not how land is conquered. Yeah. But so when basically when the chief voiced his opinion and all these battles and stuff were going on, they were like, we can't let this happen. We can't let them force us to leave because we are basically on orders from the queen that we need to make this settlement, and we need to make this settlement permanent and keep it thriving. So they hatched this plan that they were going to kind of get the chief alone, because if you know anything about like Native American culture or anything, very seldom is anybody alone. Like, you travel in packs, kind of in groups. Like, you have the chief, and then there's definitely, you know, like his left and right hand man, and then a bunch of different warriors and such, and then, you know, obviously children, wives, stuff like that. So they hatched this plan to kind of get the chief alone, and I'm gonna butcher this, but this is how I saw people when I did research pronounce it. Chief Wingena. Okay, so sorry.
That's what it looks like.
But he was the chief at the time of Roanoke Island, and they were like, we're not gonna, we can't. We have to keep going after doing this. So they got him alone. A couple of the Englishmen that came over with like the military men on that second expedition, they took him out basically into the woods and they decapitated him.
That's horrible.
And they killed the chief of the tribe. So it just...
Which I think is also important to remember, that this man did not just willingly go and just walk and then lay his head down and get beheaded.
No.
You know that he fought and yelled and screamed and...
No, and the men never gave, like, a truthful... There's a bunch of books on this, actually. There's people back then that kept, like, records, and, like, some of them didn't necessarily agree with what Sir Walter Raleigh was doing. I mean, he was on orders from the Queen, and then a little later on we're going to talk about John White, which was the governor of Roanoke. How can we, like, make these titles and stuff when it's not actually our land? But I digress. They were desperate, and some people wrote about it, and they basically said that two of his men took him out into the woods. There was a brawl. The chief put up a hell of a fight, and they just walked out of the woods carrying his head, which is so disrespectful to me.
Well, not even just to you, to him and his people.
His entire tribe, the entire village, think of his family, and all he did was that some battles had happened. Some people had died. I mean, so I can see, but all they asked was for you to leave their land.
It's their land.
I mean...
It's like if you ask someone to leave your property.
But yeah, if you do a quick Google search, you can see written accounts like I was describing. Some people took kind of like just written, like maybe like a little journal kind of, and describing the tribe as savages and needing to be dealt with. That they were just unruly, they weren't listening anymore. Sounds basically like all of American history, but... Not only did they murder the chief, but they actually rounded up all of their canoes. I'm assuming this was so no one could get off the island, which is just such a power trip, because you're leading their chief out into the woods, killing him, and then you're taking all of their means of getting off the island. So basically they're just like under your control at that point. And this was 1586, so... What are they going to do? And it's really sad. And nobody is taught this in school. We're always taught, the happy-go-lucky pilgrims and, coming together and Thanksgiving. And Thanksgiving's coming up. And that's kind of why I, told Crystal I wanted to do this episode. And I personally don't celebrate Thanksgiving. I think it's the stupidest holiday ever invented.
I like it because we eat my Nana's chicken and dumplings, and we get to see our family. That's why I celebrate it as a time of
togetherness.
Yeah, being thankful for my family.
That is nice. But do you know how upset I was when I got older and I realized everything that we were taught in school is a lie? It's not what happened. And there's still people today that will take that to their grave of that's what happened. We weren't the best people. We're still not the best people. Were Native American people the best? Not always, but you gotta understand that this isn't okay. We came to this land and immediately killed their chief. Like, right off the bat, a year into this. A year into being at this new world, we just, like... This is like, you know, when they say you go into jail and you walk up to the biggest dude in there and you just clock him. This is basically what the United States does. We walk up, we find the biggest person, and we kill him.
Like, I think there's a huge difference between, like, if we came here and, like, we're like, look, we want to start a settlement here.
It's a fly.
Yeah, it's a fly. Yeah.
I don't know why a fly always comes into the studio. Maybe it's a sign.
It follows us everywhere. But like it's different. Like if we came and we're like, hey, we want to live here. We want to start a settlement. How can we interact with you people?
Can we share the land?
Yeah, like can we teach you stuff? You teach us stuff. Can we kind of live here together? But that's not like the thing it is. Like with freaking Thanksgiving. Like when Thanksgiving happened, I don't remember what their names were, the Wanapeg tribe, I believe. At the time that Thanksgiving happened, there were, like, English-speaking natives. Like, they spoke English because they had gone to England several times and come back.
Oh, yeah, there's actually there's some members of tribes that on the first expedition when they went back to get supplies, his name was Mantio.
Mm-hmm.
He went back. He went to England, and he actually went to England. That's probably one that Crystal's talking about. He went and kind of wanted to, like, learn English and kind of, like, better his tribe, and that's amazing. Yeah. That is so great. He went and wanted to get help. He didn't, like... Imagine if he went on the ship, went back, and, like, decapitated the Queen of England's head. That's the equivalent of what we did here in the New World. He did, and he went... learned, came back, and then, like, just continued to better himself and his village. And that's amazing. That's awesome. And a few of them did do that. But also some were forced to learn English, which I think that should never be a thing. But it is what it is. But less than a year later, in 1587, the third expedition, so this is the last one that we're talking about, arrived this time bearing just women and children. At this point, not many women and children had come to Roanoke, but they were they've killed the chief. There's no interruptions now, so they're like, we can finally get this thing on the road. We are ready. Let's bring the women. Let's bring the children. Some of them were actually pregnant, which is...
God, I can't imagine being pregnant on that stupid boat. I can't imagine
traveling for 3 months on a boat being pregnant.
Oh God, you'd already kind of get, like, some people get nauseous towards the end. Oh God, in the boat.
But this was the final sign that the settlement was officially, it's done in the New World. It's thriving. And this was actually when weird stuff started happening. Maybe it was karma? Question mark. Hint, hint. Probably. Nobody knows still to this day. But at the end of 1587, the governor, John White, like I was saying, Sir Walter Raleigh and John White were kind of the ones ordered by the Queen to kind of run this shenanigan, traveled back to England to gather more supplies. This was supposed to be like one of the last trips. They just needed a little bit more. They actually forced him to go back. They were running out of food. They were running out of tools and stuff that they needed. And they kind of wanted to bring a little more people to help because they were starting to build stuff, houses and things like that. The settlement still just was not providing everything they needed. They were almost out of food. And like I said, it takes 2 to 3 months to make the trip there. And then 2 to 3 months back. So that's at least...
That's half a year.
Yeah, 6 to 8 months, roughish, of him being gone. But it would actually not take him 6 months. It would take him 3 years to make the return to Roanoke.
I don't even understand that.
So it took 3 years because, weather, and then also the Spanish Armada was going on. We were in war with Spain at the time. So the Spanish Armada was happening, and his boat got intercepted, and they were battling and all that, and then he had to get back to England. and then rest in England and fix the boat, and then honestly,
gather supplies,
and then on the way back, the Spanish Armada was still happening, so you had to maneuver through that, weather, what have you will, all this was going on 3 years. These people were on this settlement for 3 years with no food, no contact from home, no nothing. They just had to fend for themselves. But when he finally returned in 1590, so he left in 1587, so 3 years, that's crazy. The settlement was basically destroyed. All the houses, all the huts, all the crops, everything was destroyed, and everyone had vanished. Absolutely no signs. There was no bodies, no people, no really belongings, which was really weird. And no signs of where they may have gone, except for a single word carved into a tree on the very outskirts, like they were leaving of the settlement, Croatoan. And also on another tree slightly away from this, I don't know if a lot of people know this, there was 2 trees with carvings. It just had the word crow. So there, like, another person was writing Croatoan or something else. I don't know, but there's actually 2 trees. Fun fact. I didn't know that. I thought it was just the 1 tree. But apparently there was 2. But yeah. And Croatoan was basically just another village, a tribe about 50 miles south from the island of Roanoke. So the colonists really believed the settlers had just finally exhausted every ounce of supplies and traveled the 50 miles to seek refuge with the tribe at Croatoan. I mean, that sounds pretty...
Yeah.
I mean, you're desperate. You have children with you. Obviously, these moms and stuff are going to want food and supplies for their children. I know I would. I would be like, hey, we gotta... He's probably not... I would have thought he had died at this point. It's been 3 years.
Yeah, or something bad happened.
Or they're just not coming back to us. Maybe they've canceled their plans on the New World and we're not doing the settlement and they're not coming back. So I would be like, all right, we've got to get food for these children. Shelter or something. Let's find it. But do you really think they'd be welcome at this new tribe? I'm sure word has spread around the surrounding tribes about these Englishmen, these colonizers killing the chief. So I would be a little hesitant, but they were probably really desperate. So he wasn't actually able to see if they went to Croatoan, and this is the crazy part. Nobody searched for them. Nobody searched for them. That's crazy. Nobody searched for them. And if you kind of do some research into history, that area wouldn't be settled again for another 100 years. So for 100 years, these people were just never searched for. Yeah, I mean, most tribes didn't get along anyway, so they know. But, I mean, they probably would have been like, oh, they killed that tribe's chief. No. Hell no. You're not coming in here. Their chief was probably, like, on extra guard. Like, ain't happening a second time. Fool me once, you know. But, yeah, he actually wasn't able to search the island of Croatoan because he didn't own the ship that he was on. It was chartered, which is actually pretty funny. I didn't think about that.
Yeah, I never would have thought about that either.
He didn't own the boat. He didn't want to mess it up. He had already been through the Spanish Armada and all that. He didn't want to mess up another boat that he didn't own. So because of like some storms, and I'm gonna guess they said storms, but it was pretty bad that they like thought the boat, and as a huge boat, was gonna capsize. So my guess is a hurricane.
Yeah.
Because this was August of 1590. That's kind of like peak of hurricane season. Yeah. Like August, September is normally when we see like
hurricane, tropical storm.
Tropical storm. So and obviously we had hurricanes back then. I'm just like, I'm putting 2 and 2 together. It was so bad that they thought the boat was going to tip over. And they just couldn't risk it. So they turned back and went, and they basically just made their voyage back. So that was kind of bizarre because his daughter and grandchild were amongst the people of the Roanoke colony. So, that's weird. Wouldn't you want to go find...
Don't you want to know where your kid was?
Her name was Eleanor. Dare. That's where we get Dare County. And she gave birth to the first English child born in the New World, Virginia Dare, which is also Dare County. So it's kind of like a, a little
homage
to them. But yeah, just he never searched for his family again. He found that they weren't on Roanoke, returned. He actually never came back to the New World. He settled in Ireland, and that's where he died in 1593, 3 years later.
Okay.
Isn't that odd, though?
Like, I feel like I would search for my child.
Isn't that odd? He didn't go back to England. He just went to Ireland. He moved to Ireland and died there 3 years later. He never searched for his family. He did end up making a map, though, that to this day they say is the most detailed map created in the 16th century.
Of the what area?
Of the area.
Of
Roanoke,
the
East Coast. The entire, it's like the Carolinas and a little bit of,
Interesting.
To make that, like back in
I've
the
never
1500s,
understood map making cartography. It just blows my mind.
I didn't know that was the word of it, but doing my research, I realized that's the word for
Cartography?
it. Cartography. I'm learning stuff every day.
This is the joys of having this podcast, is we do learn stuff every time.
I learn a lot. I learn more.
It's like school.
Than I learned in school. Actually, another fun fact. I've learned more from TikTok.
Oh my gosh.
Hey. Thanks for tuning in. Hope you're doing good. I've learned more from TikTok. Did you know that reservations don't have running water?
Because of TikTok, I know that.
They have a water truck.
Mm-hmm.
Once a month, they have water brought on reservations today, y'all, in 2021. The original people of America, scratch that, it shouldn't even be named America, of the New World. No, not even that.
There was a name, and I can't remember it, but there is a name that a lot of tribes called their land, but I cannot remember the name of it.
They don't have water. They don't have water wells, pumps. They have a truck that comes onto the reservation and brings them water. And I learned this from a child on TikTok that was talking about how they didn't know how they're going to wash dishes or take a shower because the water ran out and the truck wasn't coming for like another couple of days. And it blew my mind. They have no government assistance.
It blows my mind.
I felt so privileged. I felt bad. Because I can go to my shower, my sink, my whatever, faucet whenever I want. Aww.
That's weird.
That's weird. Sometimes the Twitch notifications.
I never get Twitch notifications when Bethany goes live or when Tyler goes live, and my notifications are on, so I have no idea why.
But yeah, thank you, TikTok. I've actually learned a lot about Native American culture.
Me too.
Also about making fun of white people, which is also hilarious, as you should. But yeah.
I've also learned a lot about the Maori tribes. Is that how you say it?
Yeah, I've learned about the different tribes and stuff.
I am loving the amount of information that I am learning about these native populations, not even necessarily in America, but like natives to like all the natives to Canada, oh my gosh, and all the bodies that were just recently found of children, and the natives
you guys follow
in Australia. I don't know what weird guy you're talking about, but there is a really attractive native man. That he always calls people colonizer.
Yes. He's not weird. He is handsome.
Oh my goodness, that man. Man,
braid his hair.
Oh, I would brush his hair for days. He is a beautiful man. Beautiful man.
Getting back to it, but thank you, TikTok. Thank you, TikTok, for having a platform that people can speak out and teach us stuff, because we are so, I guess, ignorant is the word.
I feel like in general, though, with any culture, you get so wrapped up in your own culture that it's really hard for you to.
That's just because he's so beautiful.
Yes, he is very beautiful.
That's just because He doesn't
hate white people.
His best friend is white.
Yeah.
So.
I will say most of his videos, and there is a video in there where he's like he's like, I don't hate white people. I'm not saying that calling colonizers, like every white person's a colonizer. He's not doing that. It's kind of more of like a shock factor kind of thing. Like, it's like when someone makes a comment, like when, for example, like if a woman that was a feminist said, I hate all men, when you say, I hate all men.
That's stereotypical.
Yeah, it's like, it's a shock factor and it makes you pay attention.
It gets your attention.
Yeah, and that's the only reason he's saying it. Like, it's to get your attention.
But yeah, he has some really great points, and I'm very thankful that, I wish I remembered the person that I saw that TikTok for. Because I had no idea about that, and my mind was blown, and I just felt very privileged, and it really made me think about my own life and just everything in general. And then when I started this research, that's the reason I brought this topic up to Crystal, because I saw that TikTok, and my mind was blown, and I started doing research, and I was like, well, Roanoke is such, a topic. Let's talk about it. And then
it's a cool little topic.
Here we are. But what's kind of interesting is that in recent years, actually in like the past 20, 30 years, people are obsessed with going out to certain sites in certain areas, the islands off the coast of the Carolinas, and just kind of trying to find any and all evidence to the colonies to see what happened. And archaeologists and geologists have found some clues of the colony in several different areas, but really not much. But it also could have been from different time periods, because think about it, Roanoke wasn't the only colony that came here. Jamestown, Plymouth, so many people just started coming over on boatloads. So the biggest piece of evidence being a golden ring. So the best way to describe it is like an insignia. When people do the liquid and then they do the stamper in it, and it kind of makes the print.
Like the seal.
It looked like that, but a ring form, and it had a lion, and it was like an insignia that was well known.
So so that is actually what just to drop history knowledge on you. Okay. So a lot of times, kings, important people, they wore their signet rings, and that's how they sealed official letters. So if you were if you were sending a letter to someone, only you wore that ring so that you had it and you could seal whatever document, or if you made a seal or whatever, you were closing up a letter, you would seal it with your ring, and that would be proof that when they opened it that was your signet, your ring. No one else has opened that. You sealed it yourself.
I feel kind of dumb for not knowing that, but I put the two and two together because that's what it made me think of when I saw the ring. So at least I know people did seal letters like that, but I didn't know they used an actual ring. But that's what it was. It was a gold ring with a lion, and that let the archaeologists and geologists know that had in fact been from a settler and there was a man that was known to be on the first expedition. So he had been here since 1584. That wore that ring. So they're pretty sure
that was his.
It was his, and it was found in the Croatoan area. So
okay.
Anyways, not much other evidence has ever been found. They found a lot of porcelain pottery that is definitely from, Elizabethan era, not Native American. They have completely different. They do have, they had pottery, but you can definitely, these people are the best of the best. They're going to be able to
you can depend on the type of clay is not going to be the same, stuff like that. It was
completely different.
Styles that they make stuff in.
It was found in the different areas. It wasn't all found in one, which is understandable. Do you think they all stayed together?
Well, that kind of supports the theory that they did split up at some point. They did split up,
and I really believe that.
Because you had to think about it. There could have been a fight where people were like, well, no, we want to stay here and wait and see if when they come back. We don't want them to think that we just have all disappeared. And other people are like, no, we need food. And eventually at some point they're going to be like, hey, let's go. We have to do what's best for our families.
But yeah, okay, so now that's the summary. That's it, y'all. That's where it ends. Nobody came looking for these people for 100 years, because that's when the next settlements came in and started. And even then, what are they going to search for? It's been 100 years.
Yeah. Everybody's dead.
So, sadly, these people were left, and then, But the theories. The most scientific one being they all died due to a major drought. I know that's very anticlimactic.
But it makes sense.
But there is a lot of scientific evidence. And I'll save y'all the trouble. I watched an hour-long video of the scientist that went out into the Carolinas and cut open a cypress tree and looked at all the rings and stuff and did all the data.
Which is the coolest thing in the
world.
Which
is really cool.
There's a guy on TikTok that does it too.
Yeah. So that cypress tree was really heckin' big and really old. But they were able to cut it in, and the lines are like lifelines. It basically lets you know the weather, how much water the tree took in that year.
If there were trees around it that died.
Around it, how old it is. So they were basically able to pinpoint that from 1587, which is when John White left to go get supplies, to 1589, so 2 years later. He hadn't returned yet. That's a year before he returned. The Carolinas experienced the biggest drought in over 800 years.
Wow.
That's 2 years with little to no water. And from the scientific evidence, they said there was literally nothing. If it did rain, it was like once every couple of months. And that was all the water they had.
Okay, correct me if I'm wrong, because I don't know the answer to this. Is there a way to purify ocean water to make it drinkable? So now you can only drink fresh water. You can't drink ocean water.
That's not a question for me. That's a question for Zachary, because he's the science nerd.
I wanted to say maybe if you boiled it.
I wanted to say that, but I felt dumb.
I did too, because I feel like if you just boil the salt, I'm trying to think of a chemical process that would make the salt kind of come together in the water and leave it with fresh water. And I feel like there has to be a way.
Kind of evaporate.
Yeah.
Not evaporate, but...
No, but there is a way. Distill it.
Distill
is a way. I just don't know. See, you can boil it. Is that the way to do it? So why would they not boil the water? Did they not know
do you want
they
my
could do
honest
that?
answer? We weren't the smartest back then. We didn't know as much as we do now. We were very limited on resources and supplies and knowledge.
Well, I'm also thinking, so if I ever have to survive, is that what I have to do to get water?
They were also probably already hungry at this point. They already had nothing.
Yeah.
So.
I don't know. I'm overthinking it.
And even the further they traveled, whether it's south, north, inland, because they were literally on an island, and then they had to get off the island, and then even going to Croatoan, that's down south on another island. You're surrounded by the ocean. In the science, which was really cool, it didn't just affect the Carolinas. It basically, think of the whole southern East Coast. That entire area right there had no rain, no water.
That's crazy.
For 2 whole years, which is insane. No water to drink. You weren't able to grow crops. I mean, the crops aren't having rain. You can't water it.
So basically when John White came back 3 years later and there was a huge storm, that was the first time probably they had a lot of water in a long time.
Yeah.
That's probably why the storm was so bad.
Yeah, the weather was vamping up. It hadn't really released any pressure or anything.
What is it? Which one is the El Niño versus the El Nino?
El Nino is when it comes down into Mexico, right? Into the Gulf of Mexico.
But I'm wondering if this had something to do with those patterns. I know, I learned recently from TikTok, because, you learn so much,
y'all.
that the Polynesian Maori people,
What's up, AT? Thanks for joining us.
There was a huge, 2,000 year period where they did not do any kind of exploration in the Pacific Ocean, because, and they scientists think it was because of the El Nino water, like patterns making it impossible for them to travel the
Does it
water.
not snow there? I'm not 100% on the fact, but when I watched that video, they mentioned nothing about a harsh winter. And also, I'm not the smartest, I'm not the brightest, but if there's a drought and there's no precipitation in the air or any condensation or evaporation, that's not going to make for snow. So that, I'm going to say no.
We're going to go with no.
I'm pretty confident with that answer because if there's a drought and stuff, there's not going to be anything, kind of being produced.
I'm getting Dust Bowl vibes.
Yeah, I'm thinking
Dust Bowl.
I'm thinking New Mexico. You know how like when we lived in New Mexico, no rain at all. Ice does come, but yeah.
But I mean, is that really going to be enough water to feed not only your people but your animals?
That also could be because we have a lot of humidity and precipitation in Florida, because that could contest to ice and snow. But
I mean, a drought is also going to affect your crops too. So they could have been getting regular rain, and they could have gotten some rain and ice and snow during the winter, but that snow in the winter is not going to help water your crops in the summer. So,
good point. Those are good.
I mean, it'll keep you alive for a little bit, but without food to keep you alive.
So this opens up the question. They know this drought happened. This is scientific fact. This did in fact happen. This is not a theory. I said it was a theory, but that's because the end of this. The end part of this theory is because of this drought that we know they had from 1587 to 1589. They either, like they said, carved into the tree, went down to Croatoan, which is an island 50 miles south, or they went inland, and they would be pretty desperate. So if you're going on 2 years, no water, little to no food, probably kind of bumming off the other tribes and stuff, kind of seeking refuge and kind of being like, can you please spare any and all? They probably just could have possibly kept going in. Inland, they could have gone up north. I not necessarily would have gone up north because it's going to be a little bit colder, a little less likely to survive, and they're still not used to the new world, even though they've been settled here at this point. It's been a while. It's been like 5 years total since they've traveled to the new world. But, I mean, inland's not that outlandish to me. Croatoan's not that outlandish to me. And I'm not sure why so many people are against that idea, because if you do your own research, they're like, no, there's no way. Okay, we're gonna get there.
We're gonna get there. No spoilers.
We're gonna get there. Okay, so this is wild. I had to include it in. I'm gonna go ahead and spoil it. That's my guess, but we'll get there.
I think they killed the kids too, but that's my guess.
Crystal's so morbid.
Well,
Kill everybody.
I just have a feeling like, why would they take the kids? Like, what?
Kill everybody.
What benefit would they have from them?
True.
They had these kids that don't speak the language that they have to teach the language to and teach how to be part of it.
Crying and screaming and don't have their parents anymore. Yeah, okay.
I'm sorry. Like, that's probably brutal, but I mean, it's probably the truth.
That's what I believe. But, let's get to my part, to this next part that I had to include because it was just so wild and
I love the wild ones.
Definitely felt like somebody trying to get their 15 minutes of fame.
Those are my favorite.
But 48 stones. Yes, 48 stones.
Random number.
Think 10 Commandments stones. Like when
Like, wait, hold on. Are we talking about like Mormon, I wrote, angel gave me words and I'm going to write them?
Stone that he comes out, presents, and he's like, this is the words of the Lord's, the 10 Commandments that we now must live our life by. Think big stones with stuff chiseled in it. That's what we're talking about here. Aliens. Oh my Lord.
It's always aliens.
It's always aliens. But 48 stones, yes, 48. That's so dramatic. Were found by a farmer in the Carolinas, North Carolina to be specific, in 1930.
Okay.
That's almost 400 years later. That's so late. Why, after all this time, did they finally found some stones?
Okay, where did he find them?
Out on his farm.
just digging, and he just happened to be like, oh, look, found a stone, let me keep digging.
I think he was,
another
like, planting more crops on a different area that he hadn't, like, done before, and he just happened to be digging around.
Doing his crop rotation every 7 years.
But supposedly, John White's daughter, Eleanor, the one that gave birth to the first child here in the New World, Virginia, wrote on these stones to leave her father a message. It said her daughter, Virginia, had passed in 1590, so she'd be 3 years old, which is really sad. That's sad. But think about it. They had no supplies.
They're probably starving. It was a drought.
No types of medicines, no nothing. Living in the wilderness. People died really young back then, so it's amazing that she made it to 3 years old, if we're being honest. But it also said that most of the Englishmen had been killed by the natives after he left. So basically, does that mean she either lived on her own all that time or something?
That's weird.
But, however, the stones looked like they were fake, and it was just really weird to them, to the scientists and archaeologists and geologists that, like, looked over them. Way too many. It looked way too precise. It would have been hard for her to carve, all those perfectly, all 48 stones. One stone was believed to be real. So out of these, and you can tell the difference. Like, they're big, and then there's one that's, like, tiny, and it's the one that said Virginia Dare passed 1590.
Was it like a tombstone?
Basically.
Okay.
That's basically what it looked like. And it's probably where her, maybe if they dig around
she buried her daughter.
But that's the one that they believed was real, because it kind of looked like it was made with a little chisel or like a little tool. But the other ones were basically done with a drill. A drill that was not around in 1590. That was around in the 1930s on a farm in North Carolina by a farmer. So, but they believe that one stone is real, and he didn't think people would believe him, so he made the other 47.
Why couldn't you just give us the one?
Why? I would have just taken the one and been like, this is...
Hey, guys, I found this. I don't know if it's real or not. It's up to you if you think it's real.
I don't understand that, but, like... And another thing is, like, the first one was very, like, Elizabethan. It was very, like, English writing, like, how everything...
like, early English?
Yeah, early English. And then the other ones were, like, very much 1930s writing.
Grammar.
Yeah, so.
Such smart people.
Didn't do his research. Should stick to farming. But the biggest theory, Bigfoot brought over 47. Oh my god. The biggest theory is that the colony actually integrated with the local tribes in the area.
Which I can see as well.
I can see this, and this is the one that has mixed reviews, and if you go and look up some YouTube videos, you really have to, like, some people are just really disgusting, because it really showed their true colors. They're like, why would they do that? Ew. Ma'am,
sir,
there's so many interracial families, like,
you have to know. You have to know that 95% of those comments are made by, like, 12-year-old kids.
12-year-old or somebody's grandma that's cranky at home and needs to go to bingo. Okay?
Yes, like, those are the only people who physically comment stupid stuff. Or men with tiny penises.
Tiny penis.
That's it, though. That's it. Who will very unashamedly send you a picture of it whenever they want.
So if you comment something nasty on our YouTube,
just know that we assume that you fall into one of those categories.
It's just a fact. So think about that before you want to hit that enter button.
Yeah.
Logic. Stay big. Anyways, they were desperate to find food and water. The drought, we know that happened. That's science, y'all. You can't go back on science.
We know there was a drought.
That drought happened. For 2 years, they had no water. So that left them with nothing. To this day, scientists are trying to connect DNA to see if anyone in those tribes is any relation to the original Roanoke colony, which is amazing that any type of scientist could try and do that, because it's been, like, what? Almost 500 years?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
literally insane.
Warrior love all day, every day. Oh, Lord. But a lot of people don't believe this theory, and I don't know why. But it's just back and forth.
I'd be interested to see if the DNA, like, could find a connection.
Well, this is because, like I said, 100 years later, like at this time, Jamestown is happening, Plymouth is happening, and all that, you know.
Thanksgiving,
and yay, and then shortly after, blankets with smallpox, but...
Joy. It's the small things.
Anyways, this is why it's so, like... I don't know if I should say frowned upon, but people don't want to believe this because when they did come back 100 years later, they saw little Native American blonde children with gray eyes, blue eyes, and they had never seen the Native American children that looked like this. And they were like, have our Englishmen and our English women been, you know, having babies with the natives here? And it was kind of like they didn't want to believe it.
But it makes sense, though, because, I mean, there could have been a few people who are like, look, we give up, like, we surrender, like, we just need help. And you have to believe that chances are there was at least a tribe or two
that were kind
that
took
were
these
like,
people
okay,
in.
cool, you know, we get it. You can't survive here because we know how to survive here and you don't. So we'll take you in.
Wouldn't you have wanted, whether it be they were forcibly taken in, because very well that could have happened. Very well these people could have been forcibly taken in order to work for them and, you know,
breed babies for them.
Lay in bed with them, whatever, have you will, or take care of their children. But say your family is left in the New World for 3 years with no food and water. Wouldn't you want somebody to take them in and love them and take care of them? I don't see why people have such a hard time accepting this theory or this way of life. So what if it started this blended life, as people want to say? It's life. We're finding new people. We're finding new love. I can't with my mom.
She said, we know dances with wolves wasn't real.
Y'all excuse her in the comment section. And if you're listening to this on the podcast,
I'm loving it.
This is why you should come hang out on Twitch with us, because the comment section stays wild. But anyways, that is one that I believe. I also believe the one that my mom hinted at and me and Crystal were talking about. I'm between those. Either they were killed or they integrated.
Yeah, it makes most sense.
I would like to think that these people didn't just die off in the wilderness somewhere because they had no food and water, because the Spanish Armada made their boat late to come back. But anyways, people don't want to believe this because they get caught up on the settlement being destroyed and why didn't they come back. But think about it. What if... Because they got PK'd in the wildy. That's a reference to RuneScape, if you guys don't know what that is. Very well. That's what me and Crystal are saying. They got PK'd in the wilderness. Yes, they got killed.
Yeah.
Out. This is our land. And then just, you know.
We can't survive.
You killed the other chief. People like the ghost idea better. They do like the ghost idea better.
Or the zombie idea.
Yes. But there's an excuse to the settlement being destroyed. I have a theory anyways. The drought didn't happen until after he left.
Mm-hmm.
So what if a big hurricane hit and took out the settlement, and that's why they originally left?
Could see it.
And then when they got to Croatoan, the drought happened. And they had to survive together.
I could see it.
I think that's very plausible. They're on an island off the coast of the Carolinas.
I do think, for every reason, though, that the word Croatoan is written in the trees, though, because they were just trying to let whoever came back, if her dad came back, that... You know,
see, that's what I'm thinking.
We were coming back.
That's what I'm thinking. A hurricane hit, and the ones that did survive got off and went to Croatoan, and the ones that were killed, it probably just washed their body out into the ocean. It happens.
And that's what destroyed all their buildings.
Mm-hmm. And that's what yeah. They wouldn't survive a hurricane. You're right. They wouldn't. This was back in 1587.
Yeah.
People can barely survive hurricanes today. Well, look at that bad one that we had. What's up, James? Thanks for hanging out with us. Look at the bad one that hit Panama City Beach. 3 years ago. It was devastating. They're still rebuilding to this day.
Oh, the one that happened, was it New Jersey?
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah, that was bad.
I mean, Houston, Katrina.
So,
like,
look at Texas. Yeah, exactly. Look at Texas.
Like,
but that was my first thought, because people were getting caught up on it. Well, what about the settlement? Hurricanes, duh. It's right. It's literally a tiny island off the coast of the Carolinas.
It's gonna get hit by hurricanes. It's gonna
get hit. The hurricanes go all up that east coast. It even goes down up into the southern areas. It's hit what? New York.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think people just have this idea in their head that something bad
had to have
happened. But what if it was scientific? What if it was logical? What if there was actually just nice tribes out there that took these people in and saw mercy, saw pity?
And maybe it wasn't every single person that lived there, but like we said, we know they split up. Mm-hmm. We know that. So there had to have been some people that were been like,
because they found the artifacts in different areas.
We had to know that they were like, hey, we want to go look for more food somewhere else. Let's pack up some of our families and go, or whatever.
And DNA testing has been done, and it is clear that some of the tribes did integrate with some of the colonies, which isn't surprising at all.
No.
I mean, look at slavery.
I hope that there was some really cute love stories in there.
I do.
I always hope there's a good love story.
Maybe the colony brought these families together, and there's just a generation of people out there that are the first of Englishmen and Native American people together.
Yeah.
I do wear glasses, so...
Do you know where they are?
You don't have to... For a donation and a follow...
Okay.
For my glasses. My glasses are downstairs. I'm just so sorry. You really want me to go downstairs? It's a challenge.
If she goes get some, I'm just going to warn you, you're going to probably hear dogs barking.
Children.
And children screaming.
And if I come all the way upstairs with my glasses on and there's no donation...
She's going to be mad, I promise you. And... when this gets uploaded, it'll be kind of mad too, because then they will be mad.
Also, why do I always have to be referred to as the blonde? Okay, it's 2021 here, people.
Because you're the blonde.
Anyways.
Wait, you're Belle Delphine. You do not remember that from the very first.
Bring that. I don't wear reading glasses.
They're actually real glasses.
I wear actual prescription. I'm gonna say no. I'm gonna say no because
I think she's gonna call your bluff.
I have a feeling where this is going, and I'm gonna say no because I don't wear reading glasses. I wear actual glasses, and I'm not gonna put on some glasses so you can do some kind of weird internet thing with women. So I'm gonna go on.
She's calling your bluff.
No, get out of here. Take your donation. We don't need your follow. Bye.
Oh, she got serious because she doesn't believe you. Sorry, fuel caution.
Anyways, the colony very well could have all been massacred by the native tribes. I mean, they did initially kill Roanoke's chief.
Right, James?
Yeah, we're here to
she
talk
went
about...
after him. Or her. I'm not going to assume fuel caution's gender, but I'm pretty sure we all know what it was.
I'm assuming you're a dumbass, but... No feet pics. No nothing.
No feet pics, buddy.
I'm not putting my elbows together.
Wait, what does that do?
You put...
Oh, it makes your boobs... Oh.
Crystal, please.
Sorry, I didn't think about it. My boobs always touch, okay?
She would get swindled.
We got the biggest boobies in the chat, I promise you.
Anyways, carrying on. I mean, they killed the first chief. So it's very plausible that when they made their way to Croatoan, they were massacred. Or if they went inland, and say that the tribe that they ran into hadn't heard of them, had written no, or they're like, who are these random pale-faced people in our tribe? And they just killed all of them. And they were probably pretty easy to take out because they hadn't eaten.
Who are you, pale-faced?
Yeah. They hadn't eaten or drank anything, so...
Poor people.
Anyways, these colonizers had come over on these giant boats and just slowly started taking over everything. Think of our history like we were talking about. It has so much death. Literally, if you open up a history book, it is death, 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 death. And there will be people that go to their graves scream America, which is great.
Okay, I'm sorry. So sorry to interrupt you. And you're going to hate me for interrupting you. But can we go back to this fuel caution person and the fact that it said can be mom or dad's? What is that supposed to mean?
I don't live with my parents, dude. I'm in my own house. I'm 27 years old.
Like, we're grown adults. And I'm really confused and I want to understand. So we're going to continue this stream, but I really would like you to clarify. What the heck?
Go to some
mom or dad
stream and bother them.
Like, we appreciate the view.
I don't. Take the view back. Take it back.
Okay, I'm sorry. I have been so just distracted by can be mom or dad's or anyone's, but I don't understand what it means. But anyway.
I'm not putting nothing on. You can turn your phone off, unplug your computer, go to bed.
Go to sleep.
It's
a school night.
Real adult stuff, real life problems, and history. If you want to hang around, follow us, or don't. I don't care. I'm not putting glasses on. I'm not doing a dog and pony show. So get over it. It's really annoying that women are trying to talk on a platform and all people can come on is want us to do some kind of trick or flip or something. Stop.
Say it louder for people in the back.
So, carrying on. This is a weird one to talk about. Yeah, what's the challenge? What we get? Like a penny? Or are you going to give us $1? I'm going to walk down my 2 flights of stairs in my big grown-up house, downstairs past my 2 children, my husband, and my 2 dogs to get my glasses, walk back up my 2 flights of stairs, come into this room for you to give me $1? No, thank you.
We're worth more than that. It would have to literally be at least 20, and then she would go get it.
Anyways.
And maybe put them on.
Anyways. Last conspiracy theory, and I don't really think this is a conspiracy theory because it's well known in history that cannibalism is very well known throughout multiple cultures. Tree 50. I'll take that. That's pretty reasonable. That's pretty nice.
Yeah.
But yeah, cannibalism isn't really, it's not that new, y'all. It's been around a really long time. Unfortunately, there's people out there that like to eat other people.
And their buttholes. I'm sorry, I had to bring it up.
If you haven't listened to that episode, don't.
You set it up so good, though.
But Crystal has a whole episode about a person that likes to eat people. Live fast, eat ass. Yes.
Yes.
He ate somebody.
He didn't like it though. He said it didn't taste very good.
Obviously.
I mean, who would have known? But you know.
But yes. The last thing being that they ventured off to a tribe that probably wasn't the nicest and ended up eating them because themselves were also going through a drought and had no water or anything to continue to grow their crops.
That's some Donner Party stuff there.
So, this one I included. There's not a lot of evidence. There wouldn't be a lot of evidence, but it kind of explains because they were kind of confused on how we never found any skeletal remains, any kind of remains at all, any belongings of theirs. So, a lot of people think maybe they just found their way into a tribe that were cannibals and they ate them because, like I said, the whole eastern coast was going through this very severe drought. So there's so many different things, and whether me and Crystal come in here and talk about whatever it is, we will never know because we didn't live back then. We don't live their lives. We don't live in their culture. I would like to learn more about this culture. Doing this episode and doing this research, I found out a lot of stuff about Native American culture. I knew a little bit from my childhood because I grew up with a grandfather that I went to multiple powwows when I was a child and even as a teenager because I was immersed in that lifestyle. And up until a few years ago, we ourselves thought we were Native American until Ancestry.com, screw you, told us that we are in fact not Native American. So very weird thing in my life. Very weird thing for my grandfather.
I'm sure.
76 years old, and his entire life he thought he was Native American. So,
but hey, that guy, the really hot guy, does talk about that, about how a lot of people were raised to think that they had some Cherokee princess as a grandmother.
Not that. We thought we were part of the Blackfoot tribe, and the Blackfoot tribe actually originates from the Oregon, Canada area.
Mm-hmm.
So not that outlandish. Yeah, we did go to powwows.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But no, what I'm saying, like that, I'm just saying, like, a lot of people do think that, like, you hear people say that a lot, and they're like, no, you really aren't. Honestly, I mean, I'm my ancestry, which you can take ancestry, take it or leave it as far as how accurate and stuff it is. But it did get my indigenous background correct. I didn't have a whole lot of native, like, to the American, like, what is currently USA area, but mine is, like, more pinpointed towards Mexico, where my real dad is from, all the way down to the particular areas that I have family living in, and it says that I am with the closest to I am closest to the Aztecs.
Yeah, my mom doesn't believe it. So.
I mean, I want to do mine with Ancestry because a lot of people say when you compare them, there is a little bit of slight differences. And I will say I like my mom's Ancestry results better than I like my 23andMe because the Ancestry ones will actually trace it back for your family and show when your family, like, came over. So with my mom's, we can see where our family came over from England, when they settled, their names of when they settled, where they're buried, and all kinds of information. It's really cool.
That's really cool.
That's why I want to do that one too.
That's really awesome.
But it did get mine correct. So.
But yeah, it basically told us we were Irish, which isn't that outlandish because everybody on my grandfather's side except for him has bright red hair. Mm-hmm. So kind of understandable. And my great grandma's name is Frankie. I feel like that's such an Irish name. I don't know why. But yeah, it was really cool. A little disappointing, but it is what it is.
Well, you should do yours then.
I guess it was cool because I mean we grew up in that culture, and yeah, his mom was Irish. But 23andMe. I kind of want to do 23andMe.
That's what mine was.
Ancestry was already done for our family. I kind of want to do 23andMe.
Well, you want to do yours. So if you probably would want your brother to do it. So the way that it was explained to me, because I only did 23andMe. My mom and my papa did Ancestry. Me and my nana did 23andMe. And it will change because,
wow, that's awesome.
What was it? So infused
matched up completely with
yes.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so
that's really
Ancestry
cool.
is really, I think, more accurate.
That's cool.
But certain stuff only gets passed down, like, depending on if you're a female or a male. So you will get more information as a female. You will get mostly your mom's information. You'll get some of your dad's, but if there's any males in your family, they will get the most information. With 23andMe, I don't know if Ancestry does it, but with 23andMe, you can also find your maternal Oh my gosh. Your maternal haplo group or whatever it's called.
I really wish we had done my granny's before she passed because, I mean, we already know. Like, they knew their whole lineage and stuff. But, like, even if you see a picture of my great-granny, she is the darkest Cajun woman.
Well, then do your mom's.
You have ever seen. You don't have any brothers? I have one. And
that's why I want one of the boys to do theirs, because even though they're my half brothers, I think it would still be cool to see what stuff differs. Because for me, like, me and my mom's are totally different. Like, my mom's, her ancestry one has this super high Irish and English group, and I have no Irish. When I did mine, I had absolutely no Irish. Mine is like mostly England.
She does. She looks like just like Elvis Presley's mom, but she's really dark complexion.
Your granny?
Yeah, she was full-blooded Cajun.
Yeah. But mine has a lot of Spanish in it too, like Spain Spanish.
That makes sense.
Then I have a whole lot of it's in the Native American group. And then I have like a solid 5% that is West African.
Oh, see, that makes sense on what Crystal just said. That's why y'all's results were so
similar.
Dang, if you only had a brother.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
I wonder if you could do like one of your male cousins. That would give you like a glimpse.
Do you have an uncle or anything like that, maybe?
Yeah.
Then your DNA matched your dad.
I don't get it.
Oh, yeah, because I've had a DNA test, and my DNA actually matched my dad more than my mom. That's really weird. I don't know how that works. It was.
I guess you just got a couple more chromosomes from him.
It was 99.999, and, like, mom's was, like, 98 point something that I matched hers. It was really weird, like.
That is weird.
Yeah.
I'd be interested. I want you to do a DNA. I feel like I should just buy everybody a DNA test. I love it.
I was sitting here like, should I get my mom a DNA test for Christmas, or is that weird?
Do it. We did. This is sad. Take this for what it is. My dad bought one before he died, but he never used it.
Oh.
So Tyler used it. And
I mean, why go to waste?
Yeah, we didn't want to waste it. Tyler's shocked me though. Like,
okay,
Tyler's shook me.
Everybody thinks he's Jewish.
Okay.
Literally
everyone thinks Tyler's Jewish, but he has none. I had more Jewish in me than he did. I have the Ashkenazi Jewish in me, and I had 12% or something.
I can see it.
And Tyler had none. None.
Okay, you're not wrong. My grandpa feels the same about these ancestry things.
Look, this is literally my thing with it, and it's so dang frustrating because I don't know, and I feel like I could start a conspiracy theory about this whole thing. So, the whole government having your DNA. It's very frustrating because technically the law states the government cannot, well, not the law, but the company's Ancestry and 23andMe have it in their bylaws that they cannot use it. Yes, with the Golden State Killer, but they didn't. Okay, hold on. Let me rewind all of this.
We're actually reading
I just read
like
it.
That.
I finished it. I finished the book.
I'm not done yet.
That Michelle McNamara wrote. And number one, Michelle McNamara is who coined the phrase the Golden State Killer. So in her book, she complains, before she died, that she complains because all of this in Ancestry and 23andMe, she was very angry because she wanted it to be used to catch these killers. And they will not, under any circumstances, give those away to police forces.
It's already got mine.
So they wouldn't give it away because they said that they don't want to be held reliable if it does match and it ends up being wrong or anything like that. The only way that police forces can use DNA is one, if they get a court order and they actually have it, or, which is what happened in the Golden State Killer situation, is you can pull your raw DNA profile off of your Ancestry or 23andMe and upload it to a database, and that database is what can be used, which is why it is encouraged for people who want to help in this. like fight to find, rape cases and murders is to upload your DNA.
And I can't remember, but we had an episode where they use Ancestry to get the killer, like his niece or something.
Well, no, the Golden State Killer, that's how they eventually did it too. But there is another one that we did, but it's not directly from Ancestry. Like, Ancestry is never going to be like, yes, you can have their DNA.
Oh, yeah.
They have the individual person has to extract their DNA profile, put it on another site. Now, yes, Ancestry DNA did do that.
They
gave it, but that person individually has to put it into another profile or into another database in order for that to be used. Because they won't give it away. But I'm still convinced that they can.
And that's crazy.
If they wanted to.
She gave him that name because he was literally just the East area.
Area rapist.
Yeah.
Okay, another book recommendation. We're 2 for 2.
They can't have.
Yeah.
They would play
I would be paranoid of that too. That's the only reason I haven't pulled mine off, because you can pull it off and put it in there, but I'm like, oh my God, I don't want to, number one, I don't want to get pinned for a crime, and number two, I'm petrified that
because think about
one day there's going to be something creepy that happened.
Think of all the innocent people that are in prison right now and that are serving life sentences.
But see, okay, that's another thing. I'm like, what if my DNA could help free somebody?
Okay, I could see it.
Because
I could see it.
My DNA could be proof that they, there's a third cousin of mine that did this crime and not this actual person.
Lock them up.
I mean, lock up that person. I don't know them. They're my third cousin. But
I mean, I've already said it. If my children do something, I'm police.
Okay, there's a book for the show I told Bethany to watch.
To read it.
I don't know. What book was it? Let me tell you, my book recommendation is One Woman's Search for a Golden State. No, what's it called? What's the book that we just read? Or I just read. You're still reading it.
I'll Be Gone in the Dark.
Yes, I'll Be Gone Under the Dark.
Throw them under the bus. Yeah, I've already said, if my own children do something,
throw them under the bus.
I didn't raise you like that. You're going to do your time.
Yeah,
okay?
go. Yeah,
if
absolutely.
you take somebody else's child, you take mine to prison. Okay?
I'm not playing this game.
But don't
don't be like them.
Jeez.
Absolutely not.
No. But yeah, you guys should read I'll Be Gone in the Dark. I'm more than halfway done with it. I've just been really slow.
I did the audiobook and listen to it while I work, and it is really good.
It is.
Probably 2/3 of the book is Michelle McNamara writing the book. It is so good, and then the last third is written by someone because she died halfway through writing it.
It feels like you're sitting with a friend and she's FaceTiming you and you're talking about true crime.
It is not a true crime book as in she's there to tell you all facts. No, it is very much
personal. It's very personal.
This is me and what I'm doing and how I became obsessed with it and why I became obsessed with it. She talks about how it affected her marriage, how it affected her being a mom.
She's a mom, yeah.
How she would literally stay in her daughter's room while she was asleep and just sit there with her laptop at 3:00 in the morning writing all this stuff while her daughter's asleep.
I feel related. I feel like
it's very relatable.
I feel like
in
that's
different
why
ways.
I like it, because that's me and Crystal.
Well, see, what it was relatable to me is she talks about with Patton at one point, she forgets their anniversary because she's so wrapped up in it, and
yes,
yeah,
okay, yes, I remember now.
The Minds of Billy Milligan.
It's on Netflix, but there's a book.
Mm-hmm.
He has multiple personalities, and one of them is a rapist. Ooh. But when he does it, he has no recollection. Like his personalities
don't talk.
It's one of the personalities. So he got in trouble for these crimes and faced jail time and stuff.
Okay,
but
I'm gonna read it.
No memory of it.
I'm gonna read it. Okay, so right now we're at our book recommendations are. Is that the name of it? The Minds of Billy Milligan.
He has 24 personalities.
Okay, so we're reading that one. You have to read I'll Be Gone in the Dark by Michelle McNamara, and you have to read...
And finish it and tell you guys how I liked it.
What was the one that I said about Thanksgiving? This land is their land.
Yes,
I don't remember.
Their land. I'm adding that to my reading list.
I don't remember who wrote it, but yeah. There's a plot twist about the rapist.
I haven't watched all of it.
Okay,
I'm halfway.
Should I watch it first, or should I read the book first?
I feel like you should read it. It's a lesbian. Well, now I know.
Now we know.
Mom.
You spoiled it. Okay, so I feel like maybe I'll read. I'll see if
That's
there's
not that big of a plot twist. Normally, when it's somebody with, what do you call it, DID?
Yeah.
It's not all the same gender. So
No.
it's not that surprising. I follow somebody on TikTok that he's a male, but two of his personalities are females.
Yeah.
She said watch first. Oh,
Okay, well, I'll watch it first. It's very, very interesting. So we got 3 book recommendations out of this.
This is fun. This is what we've had suggestions on, and if you do you guys want us to start doing this? Do you guys want us to do book reviews, movie reviews?
We could throw them in the end.
Netflix specials. We can watch it and talk about it. Cause
I watched one the other day, and I don't remember the name of it. And it was so good.
We've actually had people. I've had people message me. We've had people message on our Instagram page, and they want us to do book and movie and show reviews.
I watched a crime show on Hulu the other day, or before vacation, and I told Bethany about it. Like the first 5 episodes in a row were about Pensacola, Fort Walton Beach area.
Oh my god!
And I was like, "Oh my god, I'm so done."
I'm
so done.
Yeah, she texted me when she was working one day.
Like I literally thought that I thought it was like a Florida themed show at first. I'm not even kidding. I was like, "Oh, this is like a Florida thing." No, it was just the first 5 episodes. It was so bad.
On the Von
Dutch, like the hats, like from the early 2000s.
That's the only thing I can think of is the clothing brand, or it was hats and some stuff.
I can give you a book recommendation that is totally random, and not true crime related or history related at all. It's called The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue. I'm pretty sure if you're on Book Talk, you may have seen it. I only rated it like a 3 out of 5 on my stars because it was kind of sporadic. But if you like not really romance, but kind of, long story short, she sells her soul to the devil and lives for eternity.
Oh my god.
But her like bad part about it,
a Joe Exotic.
It came out today, or like this past couple
did?
days. Yes, Joe Exotic too.
Oh, well, now I know what I'm watching for bed tonight.
Yeah, it just came out.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I haven't really been watching TV because Zach has me watching his childhood anime that he loves.
Which one?
Naruto.
Oh.
I've never sat and watched all of Naruto.
I've never watched them all either.
I don't even know if that's how you say it, but that's...
We're going to say it.
Anyways,
say it.
but I'm definitely looking that up because I didn't know there was a second part of Joe Exotic. I know my mom's excited. She loved... When that came out, we were quarantining together when COVID first came out, and she wasn't allowed to travel back to Florida.
I remember that.
It was closed.
Yes.
She literally was stuck in my house. She was visiting, I think, for... Was it Alex's birthday?
Yeah.
I think it was... Yeah. It's the last season of Ozark. I'm so upset. They're not getting renewed for a new season. They don't want to do it anymore. It's a good show.
I just want to know if the song on TikTok is going to come back now. Carol Baskin.
Oh my god,
Killed
everybody.
her husband, whacked him.
Oh my god. That's good.
I started watching on Netflix. I mean, I'm late to the game. There's like 3 seasons of it.
Yeah.
But Big Mouth on Netflix.
That is one of Zach's favorite. That's one.
I think it was
too much for me.
Okay. I thought it was freaking hilarious, and I recommended it to the boys because I knew they would find it as funny as I would.
I'm prudish. It's a little too much for me.
So funny.
She does. My mom's not kidding. She has that as her ringtone on her phone, and I bought her a mat for Christmas. Not last year, but the year before that. I can't remember what it said, but it says something about Carol Baskin killing her husband. And it's literally her mat on her front porch. Shout out to Etsy. I think I paid like $40 for it.
Oh, I can tell you. This was one that Tyler and I watched while we were in Paris. No, we were in London. We watched the whole thing, all 4 episodes, in one night because we couldn't stop watching it. It's called Catching Killers on Netflix. The first one is about the Green River Killer. The second episode's about Eileen Wuornos. And the part 3 and 4 are about the Happy Face Killer.
I've
10 out of 10.
Happy Face Killer.
Watch them. You'll probably watch them all in one night like I did.
It's weird.
But that's what I was going to tell y'all to watch.
Oh, yeah, that is what it says.
That's funny.
Got it on Etsy.
Wait, what? There's games on Netflix now.
I had no idea.
It says games, no ads, extra fees, or in-app purchases.
So were you able to watch UK Netflix?
Yes, we did.
I was going to ask you, do people know? I don't know if a
There
lot of
is
people
so much
know
fun.
that.
And the French one, too.
I know that because I have friends that live in the UK.
There was Friends, obviously. Big Bang Theory was on Netflix, so we binged that. Even though we can watch it on HBO, I still watched it.
We own all the seasons.
There was some weird movies that we don't have on our Netflix here. I can't really think of any off the top of my head, but like I was like, we don't have that on our Netflix.
Suck for taking The Office off.
But it's on Peacock.
I know, but you suck, Netflix. That's the best show ever.
I'm trying to think what else. There was all kinds of cool stuff that we got to watch. The only thing that sucked, though, is the second we connected to, like, the Wi-Fi, anything that we had downloaded that wasn't on the UK or French Netflix, gosh,
we do. My mom
deleted it.
Yeah, my mom bought us the whole DVD set of The Office. But it's not the same as just being able to turn on your Roku and go into Netflix and doing it.
Well, go onto your Roku and do Peacock.
Plug in our little DVD player and
you
do
can
it that way.
You can have our Peacock login if you don't already have it.
We have so many DVDs, but we just are too lazy.
I'm not an Office fan, I'll be honest. I mean, I like it. Like it's good. I've watched the whole thing a couple of times. Like it's good, but it's not Parks and Rec good. Parks and Rec is just...
I just have that dry humor, and that's all it is dry humor. So.
Well, yeah, it's funny. It's just Parks and Rec is just...
Parks and Rec is good.
Another kind of
Ron
humor.
Swanson makes that show.
Yes.
I will say, and I tell Zach all the time that he is Ron Swanson.
I love that show.
I know more than you.
I love that show. I have watched Parks and Rec more times than I have watched The Office, proudly, but it is my show.
Okay, let's not make this too long, so let's get down to the nitty-gritty, the last of the spiel. You guys know me and Crystal love that word.
Spiel. I just love saying it. It's a fun word.
She did. She literally bought Zach a DVD player so we could watch all our DVDs that we have. We have The Office, we have The Big Bang Theory, any zombie movie you can think of we have for Alex. He loves zombie movies. But if you guys have any ideas for what you want us to talk about in December, we haven't even talked about it.
We haven't even done a calendar.
She's been off vacationing. Life's been crazy. We have to sit down this week and get our schedule together for December and January, hopefully. So if there's anything that you guys want to hear us talk about for our December stream, we'll more than likely try to shoot for probably the beginning or middle of the month, obviously.
Yeah.
We don't want to do it around Christmas or the New Year's or any of that. So look out for probably like the first or second week of December. If there's a topic, if there's something that happened in December or anything Christmassy, conspiracy theory, anything paranormal, anything at all, let us know, because sometimes we sit here and we look at each other. We look each other into the soul, and we can't come up with a single thing. I just happened to come up with today's topic because I saw that video on TikTok, and I was like blown away. I was like, a water truck? What? But yeah, so if there's anything you guys want to hear us talk about in December, and as usual, our socials are here at the bottom. For those of you that aren't watching, our Twitter is just Bayou Chronicles. One word. Our Instagram is Bayou_Chronicles. We're on Facebook. We're on YouTube. We're here on Twitch. We have a Patreon.
We do.
We have Patreon. If you guys want to check that out, our lowest one starting at $3.
$3, not $3.50. $3.
$3. We have one for $5, and if you're a big spender, we got a $10 one.
Big spender.
We're cheap ladies. All right.
Yeah.
For the right price.
Except for going downstairs to grab glasses.
I'm not going downstairs to grab my glasses.
Except for that.
I ain't putting my elbows together. I'm not doing jumping jacks.
Together. Like, look, number one, if I put my elbows together, you still ain't gonna see my boobs because, like,
you're not doing it right. You gotta lift under your boobs. Yeah.
That's stupid.
Yeah.
Like,
ooh, I'll get you a little look.
Where's my $5? Where's my $3.50?
Anyways, anything else you want to add? This has been fun.
I'm very delusionally tired.
She's
but that's
tired.
about it.
Need to get her home. Need to get her in bed.
I have to go back to work tomorrow.
Oh, man. That's the worst.
However, let me just tell you guys, I'm so excited for Thanksgiving because I'm off Thanksgiving, Black Friday, and then that Saturday and Sunday. Ooh. And then I work until Christmas, and then I'm off the 23rd, the 24th, the 25th, and the 26th.
Ooh.
Then I am off of work, and then I'm off that Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday after for New Year's.
Ooh.
So I'm so excited.
Ooh.
So excited for all this time off. So.
Oh my goodness.
I'm just, yes.
Alrighty. Well, thank you guys. As usual, thank you so much for coming and hanging out with us, whether we rambled, whether we didn't talk about anything that you wanted to listen. Thanks for still coming and giving us a view and hanging out. And this may go good or bad on YouTube. Probably very bad. But we are appreciative for everything. We hope you guys
Actually, you know what? Let's use this. I'm sorry to interrupt you. Let's use this opportunity to say, if you haven't already, go to the most hated video that we have on YouTube, which is the cave system and national park system. Please leave a positive review.
Leave a positive review. And
please.
Our YouTube is Bayou Chronicles Podcast, all one word.
I don't care if you're lying. Yes, I do care if you're lying. Please leave an honest review and be nice about it. You don't have to be rude like some of these other people. If you really hate it, that's cool, but just be nice about how you say it.
But yeah.
But if you love it, please tell us that too. Or you could be really nice and just be like, hey, your hair looks really pretty in this video. Hey, I really like your background. Hey, I really like this. Just please, because it is nothing but negative things, and it gets a lot on your mental load after a while. So.
Yes, it does. But thank you guys so much for watching. We hope you guys have a great week. Tomorrow is Monday, unfortunately, and we look forward to seeing you guys next time.
Bye.